as much of my speeches as I can, because this class is not just about exercising your body, right? I keep talking about building a resilient body. What I mean by that is a body that doesn't break down easily, but it does recover quickly. I keep saying that because that's very, very true. But part of building that resilient body involves knowledge, understanding what goes on, and getting rid of fear, because fear is part of what holds you back. When something gets injured, when something tears, what happens is we have fear and we tense up. And so the more we understand, the less fear you have, and the stronger your body remains. I mean, from everything, from tearing muscles or getting infected or whatever. The idea is to learn how to relax. That's always the key. And you don't need to stay broken down. I'm trying to get that message across, and we will get it. So to do that, I have to anthropomorphize my studio, which is what I always do, right? My studio has its own immune system. Now, I want you to imagine with me, right? Just imagine that Yoshi just lost it. She completely loses it. And she throws something at the mirror, and she breaks the mirror. Let's just imagine that. Now, when she breaks that mirror, she creates this big hole right here. And lots of glass is everywhere, all over the place. Now, I want you to imagine that inside the mirrors, and also inside the mats, inside everything that involves this studio, inside of it is a chemical called arachidonic acid. And what that does is it lets our brain know when something has been broken. So she loses it, she breaks the glass, say right here, and it makes a hole. Pieces everywhere. The first thing that happens is that arachidonic acid gets released. And when that happens, enzymes convert it into prostaglandins, which tells your brain, hey, something has just happened. Something is now broken. No big deal so far. It's just a hole. It's just a hole. Now, the first thing that happens after this happens is your body inflames. Is that a bad thing or a good thing? Thank you, doctor. It's a good thing. Inflammation, acute inflammation, not chronic. Acute inflammation is a good thing. Now, what happens? Those doors right there, make sure you get those doors, they get wider. They get wider because the people that come in to clean up are really fat. They're big fat people. They don't normally fit through those doors. But the first thing that happens is my door spread really wide so those fat people can come in. The cleanup crew, that's stage one. The cleanup crew comes in, they've got to clean up all this broken glass. Now, how do they do it? They use what's called their phagocytes. They're macrophages, like, esophagus, they eat. Like esophagus, they're macrophages. They come in and they gobble up all the glass. They just literally eat it. That's what the big eaters do, macrophages. They eat the glass. They clean things up. Once everything has been cleaned up, the next stage, as you can imagine, will be what? Once this glass, wherever it's broken, the edges have been cleaned up, all the glass has been picked up, what do you think the next phase is? Repair. Yes, repair. But stage one has to finish first. Now, what happens if it's your neck or your shoulder? Or your shoulder? Right? Any body part. This glass is any body part. Now keep in mind, this little break in the glass, for most of us, equates to about 2 millimeters of tear. Whether it's your shoulder, whatever, it's just a couple millimeters of tear. Not that big, but it feels horrible. And what does the man tell you to do when you have an injury somewhere? To leave it alone. Stop moving it. You immobilize it. They tell you immobilize it because you feel pain. But what I'm saying is that is the opposite of what you really need to do. It's the exact opposite of what you should do. You should move it more. And if you get scared and you tighten up, what do you think happens to the doors over there? They shrink. They close up. And the big eaters can't get in and do their job. And so we're keeping the big eaters from coming in because we take anti-inflammatories, right? NSAIDs, things which keep those doors closed. Why do they do that? Because part of also what happens when this chemical gets released from the mirrors or the mats or whatever gets damaged, when that chemical gets released, it also makes your nerve endings more sensitive so that you can be aware that something has happened. But when you feel pain, and which means it's more sensitive, when you feel that pain, you want to get rid of the pain. That's your first goal. But what should your goal really be? Well, not exactly more pain, but what? Thank you, Breen. I could kiss you. To heal, yes, your goal is to heal. I keep making that point. Is when you have a diet, whatever your diet is the first goal to be effective or is the first goal to taste good? right? The first goal needs to be effective. And then hopefully it also tastes good. But the first goal must be effective. So when you injure something, a little tiny tear, I'm not talking about your arm hanging off by a thread. I'm saying a tear, a little tear. Your first goal should be to make it, to help it to heal, not to get rid of pain. But our first goal is usually, and the man tells you this, if it's painful, stop moving it. But what I'm saying is you have to move it more, because moving this glass is not going to make the break worse. In fact, it'll make it better because it keeps the doors open so the macrophages can come in and do their thing. So we got the stage 1. Stage 2, the cleanup crew, the repair crew, they come in stage 2. And when they come in and they repair this hole right here, what do you think? They lay this stuff down. What do you think they lay down here to repair this hole that she created? What do you think they put here? A patch. What is a patch made of? Is it the same as this? Or is it better? It's better. Yes, it's stronger. It's better. It's actually a better piece right here. She did me a favor by breaking the mirror. By breaking the mirror, now we have a strong patch right here. But what can tend to happen is this doesn't finish. It doesn't finish because we panic, we don't move, we get afraid. But if you understand what I just told you, if you know this, you have the confidence to know that when something is injured, no matter what it is, no, I'm serious now when I say this. When I broke my elbow, what did I tell you guys? You guys weren't here. But when I broke my elbow being foolish, when that happened, I told you I was ecstatic because it gave me a chance to show you exactly what I'm talking about, which is I'm not going to stop using it. I didn't immobilize it. I didn't do any of that. I kept using it. Broken bone. It was an avulsion. It was a bone pulled off with a tendon. Yes. And I kept using it because that's what I'm saying you should do. You keep using it. Now, I can't do push-ups, clearly, but I can do something. I can get against the wall, or I can tense it, but I don't stop using it. I never stop using it. Yes, Brain? Oh, Brain, you are rocking tonight, man. Thank you. Should we use ice? Yes? What's the purpose of ice? I'll make this very quick. Yes, to reduce inflammation and to make it feel better. Is that our objective? No. Now, should you never use ice? Well, there's a time to use it, of course, when it's so bad. My ankle is so swollen, it's really bad. Now I need to contain it. But usually, in general, you don't use ice. You need to add heat or ice and heat. But your objective is to improve the circulation, not to shut it down. Ice shuts down your nervous system so you don't feel it. By freezing it up like that, you just don't feel it. So, of course, you're not going to feel much pain. What going back and forth does is if this is my artery, capillary, ice makes it do this. But then when I add heat, it does that. So if you add ice first and then heat, it just floods it with extra. That's a good thing if you add ice and then heat. But if you just add ice because it makes it feel better and because it keeps it from swelling, keeps the inflammation down, remember, that's not a good thing. Ice will have the opposite effect. It will delay the healing. Just trust me. It will. It's not to say you shouldn't use NSAIDs or steroids or ice because there's a place for that. But what I'm saying is understand what they do. They stop inflammation. You need it to happen. But if it's so painful you can't take it, of course you take NSAIDs or steroids or use ice if it's too painful for you. But what I'm trying to do is get you to raise your pain threshold. So when we're doing something in class where, you're in a position like this, which we're about to do, by the way, and you have your ropes, and I'm saying, okay, try to get your thigh parallel to the ground. And you're going, but it hurts. Like, yeah, I know. So push it deeper, and you push as deep as you can. You don't hold back. You spread your legs. You push as deep as you can. You really try to, and you engage back, and you really flex. Because what you're doing is you're raising your threshold for discomfort. And the higher your threshold, the less this hurts when you tear something. And the less fear you have. That's the key right there. You with me, doctor? And remember, everything I'm saying and doing is doctor approved. All right, guys, so grab your ropes now, man. This is why I get so excited.